As global warming and the climate crisis become top of mind for many travelers, finding eco-friendly and sustainable resorts is becoming more of a factor in travel decisions. The first thing to understand is LEED certification. It's a globally recognized report card on many key factors when it comes to sustainable building. Hotels can simply be LEED certified, but those who go the extra mile get silver, gold, or even platinum level certification. These resorts are built to save money, reduce carbon emissions, and provide a healthier environment for both workers and guests. And by staying at one of these resorts, you're doing your part to help the environment. While certainly not exhaustive, here's our list of recommendations. All of the following resorts are Silver LEED certified or above.
Welcome, everyone, to this spotlight episode of Destination Everywhere. I'm Andy McNeill, along with Todd Bludworth. And today we are talking about the top eco-friendly hotels in the United States. We've got a short list for you, but we want to start with just talking about sustainability in the hotel business and what we're seeing.
Yeah, I think, when we think of sustainability, I think a lot of us go right into, there's a couple of things that we see at most hotels now, right? It's like hang up your towels, and they usually have a recycling bin. And,
do you want housekeeping every day? Stuff like that, right?
Right. And while that is part of a sustainability initiative, it goes much deeper, and it goes past just what the guests are doing in the hotel, but it really is how the hotel is running their business. And you're looking at equity in workers and working staff, where they're sourcing their materials, what they do in terms of other causes outside of the hotel. Do they have an initiative for the oceans? Are they promoting rooftop gardens? Are they their building materials? Are they
it's really that holistic approach, right? That holistic approach to it. You see it in all areas of hotels in their business. And I think you hit it on the head when you say it's how they run their business. You have to look at it from that perspective. So from a consumer side, all the bells and whistles of what they do inside the room matter, but they're also doing a lot more. And here are some of the hotels that are doing a lot more. We're going to start with the One Hotel brand, which has locations in South Florida, West Hollywood, and Brooklyn, New York. So let's talk a little bit about them, Todd. What did we see?
Well, so the One Hotel brand, they definitely promote sustainability and inclusivity, and all of those are essential parts of them growing their brand. So all of these properties, these three properties, are 100% carbon neutral, and they have been since 2018. So that's a pretty big goal, and especially that's forward thinking. If you're looking, that's 4 years now that they've been a carbon neutral properties.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I thought it was really interesting. When we went down and visited there, that the hotel itself was only 600 feet from the Atlantic Ocean. So just think about the negative impact they could have if they didn't do it correctly. But it sounds like they are.
And another important part of this process, and it is for it's kind of a growing trend, is locally sourcing. And by sourcing locally, you're saving tremendously on transportation costs to get these materials to your properties. But they strive to source all of their restaurant ingredients locally, supporting local farming practice that mitigates climate change. And that also just produces better food for the region that you're actually eating the food in.
Absolutely. You're not having to fly in, lobster and shrimp if you can source it locally. And their West Hollywood location has an energy star score of 95, which is one of the top in the LA metro area. And they really do some really novel things, like they have an organic garden. So they're actually growing their own produce while they're there. And they really have a goal of zero waste with their food at the hotel restaurants.
And in their room designs, it includes reclaimed wood furniture, organic cotton mattresses, sustainable sourced linens. And this is something that's interesting. So they have monthly candlelit dark sky events. And the purpose of this event is to educate, and it draws awareness to light pollution, which is something that not a lot of people think about until you're actually trying to look at the stars, and you're actually trying to connect at night on some level with
especially in these big cities. And speaking of big cities, the One Hotel that's actually in Brooklyn, one of the boroughs of Manhattan, most of it is the furniture and the architecture is done through reclaimed products, which is huge from a production standpoint. And you're seeing a lot of this with the hotels, redoing old buildings or using green certified products for construction. Very, very important, and makes a huge impact as they're developing the hotel and the brand itself.
And one other great thing that they do is they have a rainwater collection system on the roofs that sends the reclaimed water to the gardens for the
Yeah,
property. So
absolutely.
pretty cool stuff happening for the One Hotel brand.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's jump to Chicago, and we chose the Virgin Hotel, which is a great new brand, really hip, really fun. I stayed at the one in Dallas recently, but this boutique hotel is really focused on sustainable initiatives.
And this one, it's a boutique hotel in the Chicago Loop. And obviously, this is Richard Branson's company. And the Virgin Hotel Chicago has a gold lead certification. So it's not quite a platinum, but it's better than a silver, which means they're doing pretty cool things.
I thought it was really great that they actually promote walking tourism. You and I talk a lot about how we love to do urban hikes when we go in and around cities. And this is a great example of actually using it to promote sustainability.
And one thing, they're not there yet, but they are striving for a net zero carbon and net zero waste for their property, which is fantastic. And some of their sustainability efforts include green housekeeping, hotel-wide recycling, a green roof for better stormwater management, all doing great things. The walking tourism is obviously a big thing, and being in Chicago, that's a never-ending exploration of the city.
Todd, when you think of sustainable states, like which ones pop into your head?
Well, obviously Vermont. I
Yeah.
think Vermont does a lot. They do a lot with locally sourced foods. They do a lot with, they actually have a state law in Vermont that requires composting.
Yeah.
And everything is a change, but ultimately becomes a habit, and with a habit becomes new policy. So I think Colorado. I think anywhere with outdoor space where people love the outdoors, they respect it, and spend a lot of time in it. I think environmentally sound and
Absolutely.
sustainable living is a must.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said Colorado because that's where our next hotel is. And we wanted to pick one in a sustainable state. And we chose the Viceroy in Snowmass. This is Travel and Leisure has rated it the number one location resort in the Colorado resort category, which is fantastic. And it's just surrounded by spectacular and absolutely beautiful views. And let's talk a little bit about what they're doing from a sustainability standpoint.
Well, they obviously, they boast, some of the best hiking and biking trails.
Yep.
Again, a big outdoor presence. But as far as sustainability, the resort is 30% more efficient than the design standard, which is fantastic. They have low flow water fixtures that contribute to an estimated annual savings of 1.35 million gallons of water. And as we talk about water shortages, especially out west, that's
In
a significant
Colorado, yeah.
savings.
Yeah,
And
the whole Colorado River thing's a big issue.
right. And then little things like just putting large bottles of shampoo and conditioner in the rooms instead of all of the disposable small plastic bottles. Those are refilled and resealed, which is fantastic. They have a comprehensive recycling program. And because of their commitment to sustainability, they also offer green meetings, which is a term that we use often. And it's a way to bring in your clients into a property and kind of extend their sustainability solutions into our offerings as event and meeting planners for these things. So they do have green meeting initiatives, which are quite successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look over my right shoulder, I've got a picture of the Virgin Hotel in Chicago, and you'll actually see they do the same thing. They put the shampoos in recyclable bottles as opposed to using the plastic disposables, which is an easy way. But just imagine those tens upon thousands of people annually using those small plastic bottles and then them being
It's a
disposed
lot of
of.
waste. Yeah, we're going to go out to California for this one. And I think we think about California as being kind of leaders in many categories. And I think they've always been leaders also with sustainability and coming up with new and innovative ways for sustainable living. But Cavallo Point is actually in San Francisco, and it's at the northern end of the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's situated on 75,000 acres of beautiful national park land.
Wow, that's amazing. It's an old
That
Army base, right? That's that
it's
the
an
one?
old
Yeah.
Army base.
Yeah, yeah.
It's received over 24 awards for both luxury and sustainability, and it dates back, as you said, an Army base back to 1866, which is pretty cool.
So they're doing some really innovative stuff. For instance, they have shredded blue jeans. That's incredible. Serve as insulation in the walls as opposed to prefab installation. I mean, how creative is that?
Now that I mean, think about that: shredded blue
Yeah, I
jeans and
know.
then using that as insulation. Obviously, the climate in Northern California. I think we've seen a little bit of everything from heat to really cold. But these are old buildings, right? So not only have they repurposed the original structures, because there's 17 abandoned or severely deteriorated buildings that they have repurposed, including the insulation process with the shredded blue jeans. But 100% of the building shells and 75% of the interior appointments were retained and repurposed, which is great. So new building materials are utilized recycled materials and rapidly renewable resources. So
Absolutely.
things that are easily accessible and grow quickly.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. These are just a few of the options. I mean, if you really want to find a sustainable, make sure you put a sustainable hotel in your Google search, Chicago, California, Colorado, and they'll bring up, and then do your research ahead of time. The more we all support eco-friendly hotels and resorts, the faster we're going to get to all saving the planet.
And look for their LEED certification. And if it's not posted on their websites, call and ask if they have any initiatives, if that's something that makes a decision that you use as a factor in making your decisions to travel. So, but again, thank you so much for joining us on this Spotlight episode. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show on your preferred podcast app, or visit us at www.destination-everywhere.com, and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Destination Everywhere Podcast. And we look forward to speaking with you next time. Safe travels.